Should be able to share in just a moment. There it is. All right, let's share. Should be able to.
All right.
Hang on, I got to sneeze. I'll shoot him. Okay, now I'm all sneezed out. I'm good.
Okay. We all prepared here.
We are rocking and rolling and all of that good stuff.
Hang on. You know, I just I don't like the lighting. I don't like that.
Well, yeah.
Look at that. It has the rich skin tones. Are just they're very important.
Very, yeah, that's right.
Oh, I'm wrong again.
Wrong again, Riddler.
Wrong again. All right. It's the Brad and Britt cast. Our second one this week. Thank you. What's on your mind, big boy?
Well, you're headlining. I think you're highlighting on your little chyron there. Take my text, please, for those who are watching live, and I think that's going to be our top story tonight. And that is Fox News hosts that were texting Mark Meadows as the January 6th debacle insurrection was going on. They were begging Mark Meadows to get Donald Trump to do something, do anything to get his peaceful protesters full of love out of the Capitol from killing Mike Pence.
Well, more important than that, it reveals, I guess, in criminal law, there's this thing associated with knowledge of the fact that you're doing something wrong. So this, of course, reveals the fact that everyone knew that this was horrible. This was a disaster. This was inexcusable. This needed to be stopped. This needed to be confronted. This couldn't go on. And of course, I like the fact that one of those texts, I can't remember which one, maybe it was from Brian Kilmeade. It was, "You're going to destroy your legacy," because of course that's the most important thing.
Here's the
it's not saving the country, right? It's not saving the country.
It's your legacy.
It's your yes, it's wonderful.
These were read aloud by Liz Cheney in front of the committee. This one is from Laura Ingraham. "Mark, the president needs to tell people at the Capitol to go home. This is hurting all of us. He is destroying his legacy." There we go.
Okay, so it was Laura
Ingraham. Brian Kilmeade's
By the way, you notice how many people pronounce her name Ingraham on purpose? You like that?
Oh, yeah, I think it's kind of funny. Brian Kilmeade, echoing that concern, texting Mark Meadows, "Please get him on TV, destroying everything you have accomplished."
Yeah. Well, that'd be horrible, wouldn't it? No.
Sean Hannity pulled himself out of Donald Trump's own ass to say, "Can he make a statement? Ask people to leave the Capitol."
Ask. Yes, ask, please.
And by the way, Donald Trump's own possibly allegedly coke-addicted son, Donald Trump Jr., was texting Mark Meadows to please ask his father to quit the extremely peaceful protesters full of love, to get them to leave the Capitol. This is what was happening in real time on January the 6th.
Right. So one of the big questions, I heard everybody ask it. There are 100 answers. I even heard Mary Trump, the disloyal Trump, answer the question of how is it that even Don Jr. didn't directly text his father or call him, or maybe he was even with him. Maybe this was one of those cases where Don Jr. is right next to Trump and he texts Mark Meadows, okay, who's in the other room, or on the other side of the room. You know how you do that sometimes when you want to talk to someone.
To be subversive.
Right. But so, this is my theory. This is my theory as to why Trump Jr. Did, because the truth is that Donald Trump, who of course famously listens to no one, takes orders from no one, takes no one's advice. Even Donald Trump Sr. knows that Donald Trump Jr. is a complete doofus. And again, I'm not ruining any viewing for people that haven't watched the final episode of Succession, which was on Sunday night. But I believe it was in the last episode. It might have been in the one before that. But there was a moment. Where Logan Roy, brilliantly played by Brian Cox, who is he is the king of assholes. I mean, he is a combination. He's a combination of Trump and Rupert Murdoch. They merged the two personalities into one asshole, which is quite a feat. But there is a moment where Logan Roy says, "Fucking block him, block his ass, get him off my phone forever." And he's talking about his number one son, Jeremy Strong. Okay, and so I believe it's very possible that Don Jr. had been blocked a long time ago from ever being able to communicate with Trump, even though you get the impression, because Don Jr., when he's out on TV or making appearances or anywhere, he acts like he's the biggest suck up with a pipeline to his father. But I think it's very possible that maybe he can't text Trump, that he's out of the loop. He's out of the loop. That's again, I can't.
I want to be clear on what you're saying. So he's there patting him and his dad, Don Jr. and his dad are. Hey, this is great, man. Look what's going on. Look at all these people, man. They're standing up for you instead of. Meanwhile, he's like tap tap tap. Please God, Mark, make him stop. He's killing all of us. We're going to die.
Yes. Wouldn't that be the best?
He's swiping. Him and his dad patting each other on the back. His dad's like, "What an ass Kimberly has on her." Yeah, she got a great ass on her, Dad. You want to go over there and squeeze it? Hang on a second, Mark. Please, you have to make it stop. Oh my God, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. So that sort of thing is happening.
All right, but
what you're saying is completely plausible. What you're saying is so logical and so possible.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's too stupid to be true, but it probably is.
No,
so
it really
creates a new category unto itself.
It makes complete and total sense. What you're saying is right on the money. I can absolutely see that happening. They're so dysfunctional. They've turned America into an absolutely dysfunctional family. They've taken their own dysfunction.
But if this isn't as if we needed more proof, this isn't more proof that Fox, quote, news, unquote, is a clear and present danger to the United States of America, I don't know what is, because here are these people who they saw what was happening. We all saw what was happening. Trump is watching this and delighting in it. Okay. He may have had 12 food deliveries during those 3 hours because he was so excited. Okay? Tonight,
I'll be dining on everything.
Right.
That's the Donald Trump.
I'm dining on America. Yeah. So now, of course, they want the violence stopped, allegedly, supposedly. They want it stopped, not because they don't think that the motives and that the outcome that was hoped for wasn't what they wanted and hoped for, but they just thought that politically it wasn't going to work. That's their only reason for saying that. And then within hours, they went on TV that night and immediately gave no hint as to thinking what was going on was wrong. And that was when they all pivoted to it's Antifa, it's Black Lives Matter, it's a false flag by the U.S. government against Trump. It's a coup against Trump by the deep state. That was their immediate talking point. In the days after, then they started doing things like blaming the Capitol Police and shit like that. They went in several different directions, and then they lied, obviously, about what was actually you see with your eyes. That was a peaceful protest. These people were fine. I don't know what the fuck people are talking about. So there were several different directions, but the immediate one was, yes, it was Antifa, Black Lives Matter. It was those damn libs that are making us look bad storming the Capitol. That was their immediate response. What's wrong with you? Did you expect them to get every lie in there the first night.
No, you got to go with one at first, and then you got to figure out.
Not fair. You're being unfair to them.
Hey, Dad, this is so great, man. Look at what you did today. We had a great party. Meanwhile, Mark, you got to stop it. Mark, we're dying. Come on, make him stop right now. No, Dad, this is fantastic. I'm having a great time. The party was so fantastic. Mark, please make him stop. I can't make him stop. Oh my God. That's what was happening, right?
Yeah. So, Britt, this something may have changed. We'll only know in retrospect. Something may have changed on Monday, and it's this: the Democrats and Liz Cheney and Kinzinger all, it seems, finally figured out that they need to stop doing these things at 2 p.m. when no one is watching, no one cares, when cable news is in the desert. And they did it at 7 o'clock Eastern time. I think they should have waited until 8 or 9. But, you need to get that West Coast in there. So it's probably better to wait till 8 or 9. But 7 o'clock, they got the majority of the country in the position to be able to see what was going on. That was very, very important that they did that. And every one of the Democrats on that committee who spoke were excellent. And Liz Cheney was, probably the best. And there's no coming back really from that. There are no arguments against what they were saying. And plus, that you just saw the beginning of the appetizer for what they know. And the big hint was given after Liz Cheney when Adam Schiff started to read a couple of texts from members of Congress who he did not name. But I guarantee you, if you're that member of Congress, that it was you. And it's just like we thought. Of course, it isn't just Congress people. It's going to be senators, too. Right. Hello, Lindsey Graham. Do you have a phone? I wonder.
Well, these are the ones that have been. These are people that have also been very cute about this whole thing. About hey, did you talk to Donald Trump? Because some of them literally said to Donald Trump, "Would you please fucking get these people out of here from trying to murder me?" And they'll just be cute and go, I don't know. So much happened on January the 6th. I got some dry cleaning picked up. I think I had lo mein for lunch. I can't remember all the things that happened on January the 6th when they were shouting and screaming and begging for their lives. And all of that's going to come out. Apparently, all of that's going to come out. They've got the receipts. And people are going to be like, oh, yes, now I remember saying the words, please get your murderers the fuck off of me. Now I remember, now that you're jogging my memory, I do remember saying that. I'm sorry. It just got lost in the mix of all the fun stuff I did on January the 6th because I think there was an all-new Blue Bloods that I hadn't seen that night on CBS. I don't know what I was thinking. Everything was so exciting. So, yes, they're all going to be reminded of the shit that happened on January the 6th, and the receipts will be shown to them. And people like Jim Jordan, who have been, sucking on the president for a long time now and who couldn't remember. I don't know. I talked to a lot of people on January the 6th. He will also probably be revealed as having said, please get these marauding, murdering, bloodthirsty fools out of the Capitol. Something of that nature.
But here's the problem. And so much for the famous, the revolution will not be televised. Well, it was televised.
Yeah.
However, what was said on Monday in the House of Representatives by the investigating committee, and I checked this at 5 minutes after 7, as soon as I knew you were going to have wall-to-wall coverage of this entire enterprise of the folks reading all the things that Mark Meadows was going to be charged with and that he tried to evade by not answering the subpoena. And CNN was covering it wall to wall, no commercials. MSNBC was covering it wall to wall, no commercials, and there was no hint of it on Fox. They were still doing exactly what they would normally do, which is Joe Biden is jacking up the price of everything on purpose to ruin your life. They were ignoring the story, 100% ignoring the story.
Surprise.
And they ignored the story on purpose, of course, all the way through the evening. And they ignored the story all day on Tuesday, except for apparently one mention early in the morning, one time, just a perfunctory. Mark Meadows was okay. Now we now return to our regular lying already in progress.
Right.
If you look at their website, and you don't have to, I did it for us 10 minutes ago. On their website, there is zero mention of what's going on. So the setup is, the strategy clearly is, no matter what happens, no matter how many indictments, no matter how many charges, Fox believes that it's in their interest to tough this out, keep whatever kind of exclusive audience they have completely in the dark, and the tree that falls in the forest is not heard a million miles away by Fox viewers, so the tree didn't fall. That's their strategy. And they're certainly never going to address, and they're probably glad that Chris Wallace isn't around to ask these kind of questions on a Sunday show, because he would, about the 3 texts that we've seen so far from Kilmeade, Ingram, and Hannity over this. Their goal is to completely segregate the story and bury it in the backyard. So if in fact, when there are real charges that result in people truly being convicted and going to jail, their setup is that this was the partisan witch hunt that we warned you about. Or how about this headline, Britt? Seen this from before? Media goes crazy over false charges against Fox News. That's the setup, and they think they can get away with it. They think they can't.
Here's that deep dive on the foxnews.com page. They don't want you. The top story that they want you to focus on is nonprofits accused of carpet bombing veteran graves with Christian gang sign. Brad,
oh fuck! Stop, please.
That's
stop.
That's your top story.
Yeah, I know.
Right below that, owner of diner where shooting suspect worked places blame on parents. So there you got that going on. And then next to that, there's a picture of Chuck Schumer. Congress closer to raising debt ceiling by trillions after a party line vote, Brad. These are the most important stories in America right now, according to foxnews.com. That's what they want you to focus on.
Well, now, of course, a couple of those stories, there's nothing illegitimate about any of them, but it's placement and it's time, and it's considering what else is going on in the world that clearly we get the motive, we understand it. But to your Uncle Wally, who only watches Fox News, he doesn't know about anything that happened on Monday. He does not know that Don Jr. and that his favorite people on Fox News were texting Trump through Mark Meadows, begging him to stop what everyone was seeing on television. So they don't know that. Those people we're talking about here in America do not know this has happened, that these texts were sent. And so all they know is that this has been one long attack on Donald Trump and on a lot of innocent people who've been caught up in the system and very well may be considered political prisoners in our own country.
And are they going to be taught critical race theory the way the political prisoners are now? Because this is, you've heard that.
You learn that that'll be pretty soon. That'll be the new thing that is taught in prison. Okay.
Well, that's what I think. No, Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think, have already accused the people who are in prison because of the riots of being taught critical race theory in prison. I think they've already made bold, like, not even unironically, they made that. They're saying that that's what they're being taught. But this, by the way, this Christian gang sign thing, we need to look into this. They placed wreaths upon these veterans' graves, and then somebody said it was a Christian gang sign. There you go.
Somebody said, right?
No, it's huge. It's a huge story, and it's part of Christianity, and it's part of the Christmas tree being burned, and you don't get it. Why don't you get everything that's going on in America right now against Christians?
I understand.
First they came for my Christmas tree, and then that's how it goes. That's how my fake ass Christmas tree.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Pick from one of these here. COVID Trina and the waves. You see what I did there?
That's what you did.
North Carolina idiot tries to steal Britt Whitmire's catalytic converter and dies.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to go any further. You want that one, right?
I do want the catalytic converter thing because I people may not know I own a Toyota Prius. Apparently, that's one of the vehicles that these catalytic converter thieves are targeting because Joe Biden has killed this economy, and the people have to go out and steal catalytic converters in order to feed their families. I don't know if you know that. It's like a modern Les Miserables is what it is. That's what it is. People having to go out and steal catalytic converters just to buy bread for their families because Brandon has made this economy die.
This is in Union County, which is it's the county right next to Mecklenburg where Charlotte is.
Hello.
Guy was killed after deputies say the car that he was trying to steal a catalytic converter from crushed him. They found his body under the Toyota Prius.
Yeah.
Evidence indicated the guy was in the process of cutting off and stealing the catalytic converter prior to his death. At some point during the cutting of the exhaust pipe, the vehicle fell off the automotive jack and on top of him. Genius, super genius. You know how much you can get for a catalytic converter right now? The average price is from $800 to $1,200. And it's probably going to go up because of Joe Biden-induced inflation, right? And so you can blame Biden for this guy's death because he was incentivized more to steal the catalytic converter because the price is going up. How about that one?
When is some enterprising lawyer going to file a lawsuit against Brandon? That's what needs to happen. Is we need to file a lawsuit against Brandon because he's the one that's making people do this, and then obviously, even the inflated price of the catalytic converter is not going to go as far because the price of everything's going up. You can't buy enough food for his family. He's going to steal 2 catalytic converters. It's a big, by the way, this is a big problem in our area. I guess it's going on all over the place, but it's a big problem in our area too. It's happening all over the place.
Yeah. By the way, a side note to the fact that Biden causes all problems. You know that piece of shit congressman from Eastern Long Island, it's Eastern Long Island, Suffolk County, Lee Zeldin, who I think every once in a while he talks about running for governor of New York. I don't know if he's in the Republican nomination race or not. But his theory, and he's a total in the tank Trumper, okay? His theory as to why Biden didn't go to the Army-Navy game over the weekend is he was afraid that they'd all be screaming, let's go Brandon. Right. He didn't want that to happen, so he avoided it. That very well may be true. On the other hand, he may have decided that the Army-Navy game is usually a shitty game. It could have been that.
That's not true.
Maybe he's of the mind that most of us are. Who cares about the Army-Navy game? Because it was on when you were a kid.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Some things never change in this country. USA's presentation of the Army-Navy game is always great. And the Naval Academy ended up winning this year. Last 10 games, Navy 6, Army 4. Very nice. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Let's go, Brandon. It's hilarious. It's the funniest thing in the history of ever. Make sure you get your T-shirts at redbubble.com. I don't know.
Right.
I have no idea.
How about COVID Trina and the waves?
Hit me with COVID Trina and the waves.
Yeah. Well, the prediction is that this Omicron, that's what I call it. Everybody else calls it Omicron. I call it Omicron.
Oh, Micron.
Yeah, because that's how it's spelled. Like the statistics that are coming out of South Africa are so striking, and the Omicron version of the virus spreads so fast, even if cases appear to be a lot milder, that we are going to have a zillion cases in the United States. There's no stopping it. Don't think there's any way to stop it right now, because we have too many unvaccinated people who are going to catch it and continue to endanger us all. And I don't know what the cross point is going to be when it starts to overtake Delta as your number one coronavirus on the hit parade. But the White House and a lot of folks who track this stuff say, "Yep, it's a coming." Countries that have not been touched, for the most part, comparatively speaking, are now seeing explosive numbers. South Korea, remember, we always were talking about how come the South Koreans are so smart? How come they got so many of their people vaccinated so quickly? And it's a dense country, right? There's a lot of people packed into a small area. They had 94 people die in the last 24 hours, and that's the most they've ever had, going all the way back to the beginning. So if that's some kind of a signpost for us to look at, it's kind of serious shit. As opposed to, and boy, there's a couple different versions of this story. You can find them easily. Millennials say coronavirus is done, and I'm done with it, and I'm going to go live my life. Blah blah blah. They'll pick different groups. They'll pick age groups. They'll pick. This race says doesn't affect me. No one in my world has it. Blah blah. And I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about the stupidity, the mass stupidity surrounding this. This isn't a question of, those of us who think that maybe the right way to behave right now is to, one, get your third shot or your second for Johnson & Johnson, get that now fully vaccinated really truly means the third shot or the booster or the second shot if it's J&J. That's what fully vaccinated means. I don't care if the CDC won't put its stamp of approval on that. It doesn't. We know what the truth is. So get the third shot. And even if you're not in a place where they've changed the rules back to masking indoors all the time, like New York and California, I think Philadelphia, places like that, it still makes sense not to virtue signal your friends or people that you don't know that you care more than they do. That's not why you wear a mask, even if they want to portray it that way. But you wear it because it protects you and it protects other people. Two pretty good reasons. It doesn't stop every infection. It doesn't keep you out of the hospital wearing a mask automatically, because it's kind of hard to prove a negative. And, there have been, every once in a while, you'll read about a case where a person is really careful. They did all the right things and they still got it. And they may have ended up in the hospital. Those are statistically, I mean, you are more in danger turning on your toaster statistically than you are from being one of those kind of people. If you're careful and you got your third shot and you don't flout the rules, and you don't just assume that it's over, which would be stupid to begin with. I don't know why we would even say that or why people say that. But we've got a big chunk of the country, believe it or not, they've moved on from this, Britt. They have moved on. It does not matter anymore. No. Hey, I saw a football game on TV. Nobody was wearing a mask in the stands. It must be over, right? Okay. I don't know.
So, and of course, the Christmas celebrations are coming up. The New Year's shit is coming up. All of those things. Those are super spreader events all over the place. So that, as they say, it looks like it's inevitable. This is going to be pretty massive.
Glad I don't do Christmas. Hell, for a lot of reasons, but this is an even better one, right?
That's right. It's another Jewish plot for people not to get together for Christmas. Unbelievable.
Right. Right. And you know what? You notice how, Britt, we time it. So that, a couple weeks ago was Hanukkah. Okay. And we waited to unleash the surge until after Hanukkah was over, because a lot of families might gather for that. But we waited till that was over to get that Omicron thing starting to kick up and things of that sort. So
I don't believe Omicron's going to. I don't believe that's going to catch on. I think it's Omicron is going to be the one that people are going to stick with. I don't think Omicron is going to be anything that people are going to pick up on. I do wonder, of all the the letters in the Greek alphabet, this is the one I've never heard of. Because you hear them all the time. Like, again, you went to college, I went to college, Greek letters, and no fraternity or sorority ever used Omicron ever, not one time. Well, I don't get it.
As it's always. Well, remember that movie with Charlton Heston, Omicron Man? Don't you remember that?
It's always
Omega. Omega is the O letter that we thought was the.
That's right. And it's the last one. So they don't want to give it the last one because they're like, the people go, well, it must be the last one. Must be the last strain we're going to get. No, I can't call it Omega. Can't do that because that's, we can't. There's going to be more. But I swear to God, I never heard of Omicron until all of this happened. So it's very... I don't know what to tell you.
It doesn't matter that you haven't heard. It does not matter.
No, it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter that people are being told that it's going to kill them. They're going to continue to go out and get sick. It does not matter. Not be vaccinated.
Nothing penetrates through.
No, it's the weirdest shit. I have we heard about the plans? Anything for the Dick Clark's rocking New Year's Eve in Times Square? Are they going to? I mean, New York City's been.
Oh well, you're right. Well, you know what? I got to think. Here it is. What, 2 weeks away?
Yeah,
or so. They got to make a decision, yes or no, right? I mean, they completely canceled it last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing last year, correct?
That's correct.
I think this is the part of this that seems to be at least
I'm reading from Time
interest to me, which is I think it's De Blasio's last day in office. Right, it's his last day. It's his last chance to be the socialist dictator.
Maybe he'll burn the ball. Maybe he'll have somebody burn the ball this time. Maybe that'll be his swan song. He already got somebody to burn the tree, so he's gonna finish it off. His dessert's gonna be to burn the ball. Reading from TimesSquareNYC.org.
Oh, good.
Times Square New Year's Eve 2022 will safely invite revelers back to Times Square to watch the ball drop in person.
That's a lie.
With proof of full vaccination and valid photo ID. The highly anticipated festivities will also be broadcast for television and internet audiences and will include a virtual multimedia experience. So apparently you are going to be allowed to go if you show your vaccination card or proof of vaccination on your phone or whatever, along with a valid ID, Brad.
Well, how many people across the country, because people probably come from all across the country to be a part of that. People are stupid, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've been watching this. We've all been watching as long as we've been alive. And hell, I've been in New York during New Year's Eve. I have never, ever even had the slightest inclination to want to be a part of that. So, all right, so you've already, by definition, brought in the low IQ crowd. Then the next question is, how many of the low IQ crowd are the kind of people that would go out of their way to get a fake vaccination card when they're not vaccinated? And let's put it this way: under perfect circumstances, let's say it was 65 degrees and beautiful, and there was no coronavirus, and the world was great, and there was no war, it would still be the dumbest thing in the world to go to Times Square for New Year's Eve, right? You know why? It's not whatever age I am. I want some place where I can go pee when I need to pee. Okay.
Well, sure.
I don't want to be surrounded by 500,000, a million people, so that I have to either pee in my pants or hold it for 7 hours. Sorry, just me. Not interested. Not interested.
Herr Fuhrer de Blasio also says those who can't get a COVID-19 vaccine because of disability can still attend, although they must provide proof of a negative test within 72 hours of arrival. Kids younger than 5 must be accompanied by a vaccinated adult and don't need, if you're taking a 5-year-old to fucking New Year's Eve at Times Square, shouldn't you have your kid taken away from you by the state, Brad? Would you be in favor of your kid being taken away from somebody in the middle of a pandemic who took a 5-year-old to a fucking New Year? You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be shitting me. Child Protective Services should be there to collect the children and put them into, I don't know, not a paddy wagon, put them into a nice, heated Escalade to take them somewhere and take them away from their awful parents who are too stupid to live. I'm sorry. That's preposterous. If you're taking no children. How hard is that, New York City?
Isn't paddy wagon an Irish insult? Isn't it a slur?
I apologize to every one of the
especially
Irish
if a Chinaman is driving it, right?
Well, as we record this, it's like 2 p.m. and all the Irish people are still passed out drunk. But when they get up, I'd like to apologize.
We don't have to worry about them hearing us. Yeah.
So I just would like to, for when you guys wake up, just know that I'm terribly sorry for the way I've slurred Irishmen all over the place. Honestly, I can't even believe that's in there of all this shit. And look, the stuff in New York, you can debate one way or the other if they've been too draconian, whatever. They've been very careful, and I think in a lot of cases it's been appropriate. But I think the no kids, the nobody under 5 policy would be perfectly fine. I don't know how much criticism they would get for that,
Well, see, this is where you're out of touch. Ever try to get a babysitter on New Year's Eve?
I've been watching
tough in New York. Yeah.
I've been watching this thing for so long. I remember when Dick Clark was alive. That's how long I've been watching this thing.
That. That's too long ago. No, nobody remembers that.
No, truly, I'm not kidding you. I have memories of Dick Clark being alive on this planet. I'm not even shitting you about that. So yeah, I think they're going to have to readjust. I mean, I think Omicron. I know, for example, in Japan, they've changed everything. Everything has been changed. And the reason, of course, I know this is because of wrestling. Their WrestleMania happens right after New Year's. And for the wrestlers that are there, if you ain't in the country like by now, fuck it, you ain't getting in. That's already been declared. You need to be here. You need to isolate. We're gonna swab your nose, swab your ass, swab your testicles, whatever we got to do. And before anything, you go into any large crowds or anything, it's gonna on January the 5th or 7th, whenever the event is. You're going to be there. And a lot of other countries are taking it extremely seriously as well. We've shut down travel from certain areas and stuff like that. But I think New York City is going to have to readjust this plan. I mean, I know it's very important to everybody.
Everything we're saying right now.
Oh, sure.
2.5 weeks from now may as well be 2 years from now, based on, when you start to hear certain government officials and certain doctors and certain municipalities say, and I think it's in Britain, they're saying cases are doubling every 3 days. Well, you don't have to be Thomas Malthus to understand the power of compounding, okay? Because if cases keep doubling every 2 days, you have the entire country within, 19 days or so, whatever that, how that works. So it's serious shit. And it's almost as if we just can't learn the lessons of the past. And we've had a couple of dress rehearsals here that have cost us a couple 100,000 lives each time. And it isn't until we get smacked in the face and until hospitals just start to give up. And it feels right now like there are some situations around the country in hospitals where they can't do it anymore. There's no room, and there is less personnel to deal with the number of people that are coming in, and you're still crowding out people who have the same kind of medical problems that they've always had. Right. What, you need heart surgery? Take a number. We'll call you in 2 weeks. We can't have that. And why do we have that? Because we have so many unvaccinated people in this country. That's true. And why do
God forbid somebody has an appendix burst all of a sudden, and you got to.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding?
It's ridiculous.
A month. Well, call me in a month. Try doing it the My Pillow guy has a little program called myappendix.com where you can Yeah.
Do you? I mean, I think that message isn't getting out there to a lot of people in a lot of communities. Because first of all, as far as a lack of beds and so forth, I don't think people. It's not getting out there because I think in a lot of cases, a lot of communities don't want to incite panic. But I also think people are somewhat impervious because they've just got fatigue on the whole thing. Just because you're tired of the story and you're tired of wearing masks doesn't mean the thing goes away, right?
Well,
it doesn't mean that the threat's not there.
I disagree. I believe the stupidity goes way back to before "quote unquote" fatigue set in.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it set in because this was no secret that early on, scheduled important surgeries were starting to be delayed very, very quickly because hospitals and particularly intensive care units were stuffed with COVID patients. And it was one thing, it was terrible when we had no vaccine. But if you would have said at the very beginning in spring of 2020 that by the end of the year there would be a vaccine and that all the bottlenecks you're seeing in hospitals clearly are going to get relieved because mass vaccination will start to alleviate the problem, you would have thought, yeah, that sounds about right. If you could have projected that there'd be a vaccine at the beginning of 2021, my God, by the end of 2021, are you kidding? We got this sucker beat. We have nothing to worry about. But as you just said, there is a cognitive dissonance that if it existed then, it's now 100 times more recalcitrant and resistant to reality. Hey, I didn't have to have heart surgery at the beginning of 2020, and I don't need it now. So what do I care?
Exactly.
my mom might, but I'm not my mom, and I'm not getting vaccinated.
Well, you also have. I don't
know how to argue this anymore. It's too stupid.
You also have a couple of things that are baked in the cake. America being a fairly unhealthy nation, having a problem with obesity and diabetes and all of that sort of thing, heart disease. All of that is baked in the cake. So you're already starting with a largely unhealthy population. And then when they always talk about, well, if you can get it diagnosed early, you've got a large segment of our population that does not regularly go to a doctor. So they don't even have that communication or that pipeline to keep themselves healthy. So you start with a couple of strikes against you before we even get in the batter's box.
Yeah, you're so right, because if you watch the TV doctors talk about it, very often they'll punctuate everything and say, but talk to your doctor about this. Well, most people don't have a doctor.
That's right.
You're right. Correct. They do not have a doctor to talk about this with. And I don't know if you've seen the latest breakdown. The statistics they're really striking, because it's always been the vast majority of deaths that have occurred from COVID of people over 65.
Correct.
It always has been.
Right.
So again, think about this. Who are the first group of people to get vaccinated? It was over 65.
That's right.
And most people over 65 have been more than diligent in getting not just their first and second shot. A lot of them gotten their third shots. But right now, guess what's going on? It isn't just the younger people who had gravitated to right after that initial surge of old people dying. It's now old people dying again. And I don't know whether that's because old people aren't getting their third shot. They're tired of it. They don't want to talk. I mean, I don't know.
I'll tell you one thing. When the university,
we are really our own worst enemy on this.
When the University of by God Alabama takes on Cincinnati on New Year's Eve, there will be by God fans in the stand. And if Brandon tries to stop that, we're going to impeach him. That's exactly what's going to happen. I know. I'll tell you right now, December the 31st at 3:30 in the afternoon, there will be, by God, honest, 100% bona fide human beings in those stands watching my Crimson Tide take on Cincinnati. There's a story. The Cleveland Browns have placed 8 players on their COVID list. So that means when the Raiders play them on Saturday, they might have a chance. If they have enough of those people that go to the sick list, the Raiders might have a shot. This was the actual good news. Pfizer saying its COVID pill will protect against severe disease, even from Omicron. But do you know, my fear is that there's going to be a segment of America goes, well, good, I can just take a pill, no problem. I'm going to go out to food line and cough on some people. That's how I feel it's going to be interpreted.
Well, first of all, you're right, because remember, everything that happens contributes to, the excuse nation that exists within the United States. Excuse nation, alibi nation, where if the sun comes up, well, I'm not getting vaccinated today. The sun came up, and if there are therapeutics for people who are in the early stages or whatever, a lot of these you have to really recognize it early. I mean, this isn't a case where if you're in your bed and you're coughing up blood and you're suddenly you take a pill and you get better. It doesn't work that way.
That's right.
It doesn't work that way. But the headline makes it kind of seem that way. Yeah. And to a person who has been resistant to real news and to real information and just listens to shit that's coming out of talk radio or crap on Facebook, this sounds to me in headline form like it will protect against severe disease. But see, it doesn't protect you from getting the disease, right?
Correct.
It doesn't protect you in a way that the vaccine protects you, and it doesn't protect you in a way that responsible masking in mass situations helps to protect you and other people. But, this is America where if we can take a pill, I don't have to do any of that shit.
Again,
right?
this is, it's just,
Why
that's
this
part of
that.
That's part of our culture. I mean, it's baked in the cake that there's always going to be a pill that saves me, and everything's going to, you just put that in there with the largely obese population, the people that don't go see a doctor on a regular basis, and people who think I can just take a pill and everything will be fine. I mean, there's just a mentality there that makes us ripe for the picking for this stupid virus.
And you know where this goes back to? It goes back to In the Year 2525 by Zager and Evans.
Yes,
because one of the verses was you take a pill, and I can't remember the verse. We'll have to look it up. I'll look it up and I'll have it tomorrow. But they gave it away. By the way, a number one song. Number one song.
Yes. And I'll take their version of the future is a lot less bleak than what we're living through now. We'll see you tomorrow.